So I don't believe in potential after 30. I don't believe in it. I flat out don't believe in it. Now, let me just say this. What that means is, for those of you who are dating or whatever, I'm coming to you from my personal set of experiences and that type of thing. I don't believe in dating someone for their potential. I don't. I date in actuality. It's different if you're in your early 20s, right? Because you're still trying to formulate your career. If you are 30 years old and you don't have your stuff together, then you need to get your stuff together. So for those who are like dating people for potential, I'm not talking about somebody maybe who's finishing up med school or something like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are like, I'm on my grind, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. This is the thing. Now, this is probably going to sound really messed up, but there are people, yes, who might be starting a business or something like that. Well, then that's just going to have to be the one that got away. There's a lot of people out here who are like, I'm dating him, he's got a lot of potential. Absolutely not. By 30, you should have, the way I see it is you should be stable. And then if you're working on a side gig or something, then you work to get that set up. But all this dating for potential, absolutely not. I don't do that stuff. And for you women out there who are the walking ding dongs, you are the problem. You are not the victim. You are the volunteer because I can't get the words out. You are signing up for shenanigans. I don't believe in dating for potential. If and that goes actually both ways. Both ways. I think that this whole potential thing is silly. If you're in your 20s, that's one thing. But if you're 30 years old and you're still talking that talk, I'm like, okay, see, you're not about anything. And I'm not talking about the edge case where someone's finishing up med school or some sort of specialty, like they're in the act of finishing and completion, that type of thing. But the people are like talking, yeah, I'm on my grind and this and the other. I'm like, no, absolutely not. Because see, at this point, what you're not going to do is stress me out because I've gone through what I've had to go through. Now, let me just say this. Early on, when I was putting out content, and I still stand by what I said, being educated and getting your degree and all that good stuff is valuable. It does not determine your value, right? Because there's people who are valuable in my family who are not necessarily degreed up, but they're super valuable. But having that education, degrees, and all of the good stuff, certifications, whatever, is valuable to your family, to you, to your overall health and growth and that good stuff. I think there's a different, like people will equate or conflate value. And my whole point in that was I was always telling women, regardless of what anyone says, you need to secure your education, your certifications, that type of thing, because they are valuable. Okay? They are necessary to bring in income, networking, all that stuff into the community. It's necessary. And if you don't have someone that you are partnered with, well, then you have to be able to take care of yourself. Now, fast forward to today, that's why I talk about, it was a week or so ago, I have a video out there on the word independent. I don't believe the word independent is a bad word. Only our community will take and turn that into a dirty word because the community is the prodigal son. The black community, I said it, they are the living, walking prodigal son. They have lost their mind. And so now all this Jedi mind trick stuff is being done to convince people that education is bad, going to college is bad. Instead of finding the silver lining, they'll say, oh, you have debt? Well, yeah, a lot of people do have debt. I don't. But a lot of people do because the circumstances they were in. So should they have remained in abject poverty or just not have gone to school or whatever because of fear of getting student loans? You have to make the best decision. But nevertheless, I don't want to digress. The point I'm getting at is you need to take care of yourself. You need to secure your education and your certification. You need to network with professionals and that type of thing. You need to gain valuable skills and that type of thing. And then people will convince you that it is bad. They'll try to take shots. And let me tell you the biggest thing of all. It's like the biggest Jedi mind trick of it all. They'll say things like, if you have your education, that you have an attitude problem. Let them say whatever they want. Because if they came to me like, oh, you think you're this, that, and the other, I'd be like, I sure do. I absolutely do. You need to level up. I digress on that. I'm saying this whole dating for potential thing, absolutely not. Cut it out. Either you need to go find somebody else who can match where you are. There's other men out there. I'm not saying go divest, although I don't have a problem with people if they're divesting to try other. That sounds really weird. I say go where you're happy, right? Don't let people pull this Jedi mind trick on you and say all these silly things. It's embarrassing for the entire community. It really is. Stop this whole potential nonsense. It's silly. No, cut it out. There's no dating for potential. If you're 30 years old and homie is still out there trying to figure out his toenail clipping business, then you need to let that go. Well, it might take off and it might not. You have this life today. You have this life today. I say live it today. And if it's meant to be, you guys will be together, or he might just be the one I got away. Then he could be like, see, look at me now. I'm like, okay, you know what? You showed me. But a lot of people don't follow through. We're just going to be honest. A lot of people are not following through with the things they say they're going to do. Whether it's a certification, their education, purchasing a home, whatever it is. You've got people who will shame you on owning a home. I can't get the words out today. I'm like, since when is the concept of home ownership like this negative thing? Well, you might be in debt. Most people are in debt over their home. We have a mortgage. I don't pay the mortgage, but my husband pays the mortgage. Like, we have a mortgage on our home. And I'm just in here thinking, like, let me tell you something. We need to cut it out. Cut it out. Number one, you need to make sure we are setting some sort of healthy standard. Like I said, I had boundaries and standards for myself. That's what I have. Okay? You need to set them for yourself. And if you can't find it with somebody who looks like you, find it with someone who doesn't look like you and who's going to love you anyway. All right? You need to do that. That's basically where I'm at with it. And I feel like the only way the community will figure out how to get itself together is if each side sets some sort of standard. So, this is what I would say to the black women, because I'm a black woman and I am biased. When you set your standard, you don't have to denigrate black men. You can keep it 100. You can absolutely keep it 100. Like, no, this is what I'm looking for. But you don't have to denigrate them in the process. They do enough of owning themselves on media, right? And then what they'll do is, instead of being aware, self-aware, and holding themselves accountable, what they'll do is they will denigrate you. Don't even get involved in it. You got to let them be where they are. They are like the prodigal son of the prodigal sons right now. Let it go. There's no need to denigrate them in the process. They're self-denigrating. They don't even like themselves. They don't like the way they look. They don't want their offspring to look like you. They don't. There's a demon that's running through it. Let it go. Y'all focusing on the wrong stuff. Take care of yourself. If it works out with somebody who looks like you, then it works out. If it doesn't, find someone else. It's literally that simple. But I'm like, well, we all prefer a lot of things. We prefer a lot of things. Open your mind. Um, where am I? Hold on, let me get my life together here. Make sure I'm in the right lane. So, anyway, that's where I'm at with it. You do not denigrate them in the process. There's no upside to that. There's already this silly gender war. Okay? Look, just know this. They are going to come for you. That's what they're doing right now. They're going to go out and create these stupid podcasts to sit there and complain about modern women and all that stuff like that. Ignore them. You have to run away. Flee. are miserable people. You got to let it go. I'm telling you right now, stay out of the men's business. You'll be happier for it. Let me tell you something. Ever since I started getting all rid of most of it's out of my content, some of it makes its way back because there's a couple of people I still subscribe to, like some random people. But most of it, when you get out of your content, you see other things. Trust. It makes it better for you. They are more concerned about you. Trust me. They're going to do everything they can to tell you what you should do. They're going to be in your DMs. They're going to be in your videos or whatever it is. I don't know. Ignore it. Do not denigrate them in a process. They're going to denigrate you, and that's going to eat them up because they're going to look back on a lot of this content and they're going to see how it didn't hold up. It's not going to age well. But I say take care of yourself. Go put a plan in place. Be intentional about it and be open to other people. There's good people out here. If you give yourself the space, don't let anybody tell you that you don't have options. Let me tell you something. They believe that. They really believe it, and it's flat out not even true. It is not true. It's just like uncategorically not true. People will pick, you can prove and disprove anything with a statistic, and people aren't even reading what's going into statistics. They're embarrassing themselves. They're owning themselves. Trust me. You need to ignore that. Get off on Whacked Out Weirdo podcast and go get yourself a life. But I'm telling you right now, I do not potential after 30. That's shenanigans. Now, get yourself together. If you don't have it together by then, I don't know what you want from me. If you are stable and then you're saying, okay, I want to make a change and you are actively working towards it, I can buy that. People who don't have their life together at 30 years old, that's for somebody, let somebody else have that headache. It's not your headache. Let it go. And actually, to be honest, I would say even for the men, if the woman you're dealing with is 30 years old and she's still out there not getting herself together, that's not what you want. That's not what you want for your children. Let somebody else have that headache. If you're planning on having children or whatever, if she's not actively getting herself together, no, and more no. See, what happens is if we have a community of people who have standards, see, we'll stop a lot of this stuff. So you don't have to just talk. You can show people better than you can tell them. All right. So now that you guys loved every single word that I said, that's when you go ahead and hit the thumbs up and then you subscribe because I'm amazing in every way. I can do no wrong.